When I was young, my brother and I built a boat with our father. We spent several years sailing and exploring the Patuxent River. And then I met Tony.
Peter and I spent many happy times on that boat, and so when we got married, we built a larger boat and ventured out into the Chesapeake Bay and its many rivers.
We crewed on larger boats with dreams of sailing the world, but then life took another turn.
Today, we look forward to retirement with dreams of leaving it all behind. Come join us on our journey to sail the seas.
Okay, this is hopefully the conclusion of our three-part series around dinghies, and we're going dinghy. There was a lot of dinghies we went through to narrow it down 5, so I mean, I feel overwhelmed, and the boat's going to be started soon, so we really need to nail this out.
But it is a big decision.
It is, and of course, every decision for us is big because we analyze every aspect of it. And,
Yes.
and things change as we go through and analyze. So in the first episode, Going Dinghy, we reviewed...
The Aspen Carbon Cat
Yes.
and the Highfield.
Yes. And in the second episode, still a little bit dinghy, we reviewed...
The OCT.
We reviewed the Oct.
And the AST.
And the AST out of Germany. And then I added the Ultralight Performance UP340, which is a boat that the more I look at it, the more I really like. So in this conclusion, what we're going to do is we're going to take all the 5 dinghies and we're going to contrast them. You know, what's the lightest? What's the highest load capacity? What's the base cost? We're also going to discuss what options we want. On any of these dinghies, there are certain options we want, we must have. And we'll discuss that, and hopefully I can bring it all together and conclude this. And hopefully we'll have a decision of what our next dinghy will be. Do you think so?
I hope so.
I hope so.
So we can move on.
Yes, we have other things to start worrying about. So let's get started.
Okay.
Okay, we're going to rate these dinghies in 3 categories: weight, load carrying capacity, and cost. And we're going to start with weight. In the weight category, we have offshore cruising tenders, OC350, coming in at 97 pounds. That's the full carbon version. The fiberglass comes in at 119 pounds. But the cost is going to be $2,750 more for that difference in 22 pounds. So I'm going to put a little asterisk here because I'm not going to pay $2,750 for 22 pounds. Coming in second is the Ultralight Performance UP340, coming in at a mere 99 pounds. Coming in third is the AST Beach 341 from AST Yachts and Composites. That boat's coming in at 104 pounds. Coming in fourth is the Highfield Classic 340. That's coming in at 157 pounds. And finally, the Aspen Carbon Cat, which is coming in at 187 pounds. I used a published weight of the Bear Hawk because I wanted an apple-to-apple comparison. Each option you add is going to add weight as well, so please keep that in mind. As you can see, the top 3 are only 3 or 4 or 5 pounds within each other. You wouldn't go wrong selecting any of these 3 if weight was your priority. Next, let's look at the load capacity. The higher the load that it can carry, the better the rating. The highest load carrying capacity goes to the Ultralight Performance UP340, which has a load rating of 1,373 pounds. Second up is the Highfield Classic 340, which rates as 1,215 pounds. Next up is the innovative Aspen Carbon Cat T11, which is rated at 1,040 pounds. This is followed by the offshore cruising tender OC350 at 988 pounds. That 988 pounds is for both the full carbon and the fiberglass version. And finally, the AST Beach 341 from AST Yachts and Composites is coming in at 904 pounds. So for load capacity, I think the clear winner is the UP340 at 1,373 pounds. Now moving into the last category, cost. Now this is where I'm going to get in trouble because this is very subjective. The boats that are built overseas are automatically at a disadvantage because you have to import them back into the United States. There's huge shipping charges which you have to add on. So when I came up with these are costs I believe would get me the boat in my hands on the east coast of the USA. I will try to quantify these costs the best I can as we rate these. First up is a Highfield Classic 340. I got this quote from a dealer. The dealer's just right up the road from me, so I would just go up there and pick it up. So there's no delivery, and that cost, quoted to me, is $7,600. The Classic 340 is a rigid inflatable boat, so there is a total cost of ownership with that, and we'll discuss that a little bit later. Next is the Ultralight Performance UP340. This is made down in Florida, and the hull price starts out at $11,900. Being just down the east coast of the United States, I mean, it's a little bit of a drive, but I could drive down there and pick this up and save on the shipping cost if I wanted. So I'm not going to add shipping to this cost. The Aspen Carbon Cat, manufactured out of Washington State, the T11 model starts out at $11,100. But you have the ecology fee for $200 and the petrochemical composite surcharge, which brings that price up to $12,175. And I'm not driving out to Washington State. I would look at shipping it, figuring $1,500 to ship it across country, brings it up to $13,675. The offshore cruising tenders are manufactured out of New Zealand, so they will have to be shipped from New Zealand into the United States. You really can't get any further away from New Zealand than the east coast of the United States, and this will drive the price up. So for the OC350, remember there's two variants. You have the full carbon, and that comes in at $18,190. But I'm not paying $2,750, so I'm going to use the fiberglass version at $15,440, and that's the price I'm going with the OCT. And finally, from AST Yachts and Composites, we have the AST Beach 341. This is manufactured out of Germany. There is a dealer in California, so it was shipped from Germany to California, and then I would have to get it shipped over here to the East Coast. So this makes it really expensive, and that one's coming in at $23,385. So wow, what do we do? Well, let's start with the AST Beach 341 at $23,385. That's just too expensive for my wallet. I really like the boat, but not at that cost, so I can let that one off. The OCT 350 out of New Zealand, shipping really drives the price up. I kind of like the boat, but at $15,440, I'm gonna have to wipe that one out as well. I really liked the Aspen Carbon Cat. I thought it was a very innovative hull design, but being the heaviest of all the dinghies at 187 pounds kind of defeats the purpose of Tony and I getting a lightweight dinghy. So we're going to wipe this one off as well. And then there were two. The Highfield at $7,600 is very affordable. Probably why it's so popular out there. Everybody has a Highfield. I don't necessarily like that you can puncture the tubes, and the tubes won't last a long time. And probably if you take good care of it, in 10 years you're going to be replacing that dinghy, so it won't be the last Highfield you buy. Also, it weighs in at 157 pounds, so it's one of the heavier ones. In contrast, the UP340 is coming in at almost $12,000, but there's no tubes to puncture. This will be the last dinghy I would buy. This dinghy will last as long as the mothership, as long as the C-11260. The UP340 is the lightest, as I'm not going with the full carbon model of the OCT. It also has the highest load carrying capacity, so I like that. Obviously, the UP340 is more expensive than the Highfield. The only way this will pay for itself is if I keep the boat and I continue to sail more than 7 or 10 years. Then the UP340 would be the best buy here. So which one are we going with? Let's find out. So why are we not building our own dinghy? It's definitely within my skill set. And I know I can build a dinghy in 9 months. We have plenty of time if I start now to have that dinghy ready.
Heard that before, and it took 3 years. Of course, it was bigger than a dinghy, but still.
A dinghy could be a very simple boat, but here's why we're not doing it. Building a wooden dinghy, not a big deal. You know, with west system, glass to the outside and all that. But the problem with any wooden boat is the upkeep. I've had wooden boats, and little nicks and things like that is significant, where on a fiberglass it's more cosmetic, but on a wooden boat it could lead to structural if you don't fix it right away. So a wooden boat's a lot more maintenance. And plywood or cedar or planking, stuff like that, that could be heavy.
Yes.
So in order for me to build my own dinghy, I will have to build a mold. And building a mold is not an easy task. And once you build the mold, then I can pop off a dinghy using carbon fiber, vacuum bagging, Kelvar where I need it. And we would end up with a nice dinghy, but it would be labor intensive and it would be expensive, not including my labor. And I just don't think it's worth it for popping one dinghy off a mold. If I was going to pop 5, 10, sell the mold or something like that, maybe that's a discussion. There's also kits out there where you can buy kits and just slap it together pretty quickly for dinghies. But again, you'll end up with a dinghy that you're kind of like rowing back and forth from the mooring, and I don't want that. I want a boat that's strong, that we could load up a refrigerator if we had to and explore and things like that. We're a little bit older. My rowing days are over. You're never too old to paddle because you only paddle when you have to. So that's why we're not probably going to build it. Well, not probably. We're not building a dinghy. Even though I could do it.
Even though you could do it.
In 9 months.
No, I doubt that. But maybe if you retire now.
Yeah. Anyway, that's some of the options we want to see on our dinghy or tender. Some of these features are optional with some manufacturers and they're standard with others. But these are the features we want on our dinghy. Start us off.
So one of the things Peter and I have talked about are beach wheels. This will help us pull the dinghy up onto the beach or onto ramps, and it will help us to be able to do that by ourselves, or just the two of us, or even just one of us.
Yes, when we sail at tidal areas, I don't want to be beached and then stuck out there.
Right.
And some of these dinghies are pretty heavy. As long as it's not mud, those beach wheels should allow us to go back and forth. I want a bow locker. It doesn't really have to be a bow locker. I want some lockable compartment on the dinghy that we can lock up some stuff. Now, we're not going to store gold bars and diamonds and silver doubloons or whatever in there, but we just want to store our equipment, lock it up, so as people cross over our dinghy, they're just not picking stuff up as they're going by. You know, not that I'm saying everybody's a thief, but it's just out of sight, out of mind. So we want a lockable storage compartment in our dinghy.
Yes. And also with storage, we want bags or compartments where we can store gear. And so it's not rolling around on the floor, something we might trip over or stub our toe on or just get in the way. We want to be able to put stuff away.
And twist our ankle, you know, we're kind of old, so we don't
getting there.
We don't want to be doing all that stuff. So the floor has to be free and clear from anything rolling about. So yes, I agree. I also like to see fishing rod holders, and these aren't anything fancy. It's just some place to put the fishing poles. Now, we're not going to be deep sea fishing on the dinghy, but we will be in inland waters and coastal, just light tackle, looking for perch or rockfish or something like that. So I like fishing rod holders where we can just put the rods down while we fish. or even coastal trolling. So.
And I definitely want a ladder, a swim ladder. And I want that because it's harder for me to get into the dinghy without it from the water. And that's not just for safety though, like when you're swimming just for fun and recreation, but if you were trying to save somebody and get them into the boat, the ladder helps. So I definitely want a ladder.
We can porpoise in.
You can porpoise in.
I can't porpoise
I can't.
So yes, a ladder is a great addition. So if we go swimming or snorkeling or whatever, getting on the dinghy should be easy for a vintage couple.
Yes.
Right. I like to see navigation lights because we're going to be out at night or restricted visibility, and having navigation lights on the dinghy would be great. They don't have to be integrated nowadays. They have these navigation lights where they're portable. You just paste them on, tape them on, Velcro on. Their batteries, their LEDs. Some of them even solar powered to keep them charged. But I don't want navigation lights like on the bow that's going to cause somebody to step on it, trip on it, stub their toe on it. And I don't want them on poles or anything, because first thing people grab when things get rough is the pole, and they break off. So preferably I like to see the navigation lights integrated with the boat out of the way.
Okay, and the next thing I would like is a floor that stays dry, that drains and stays dry. And when we were in the Bahamas...
A double floor, right?
Yes, a double floor.
Yeah,
that's what I mean.
Or a false floor, whatever they're calling it.
Yes. When we were in the Bahamas, we went to this wonderful little beach bar on Staniel Key. Was it Staniel Key?
Yeah.
And I loved it. It was such a nice place. And so, like, we'll be doing stuff like that sometimes. And, maybe you don't want your shoes to get wet from the dirty water in the bottom of the dinghy. And I mean, yeah, your feet might get wet when you get in and out of the boat, but you'll probably take your shoes off. It's just nicer to have a dry floor, and anything you're bringing with you will stay dry.
Yeah, bags or gear or stuff. Yeah, I agree. The dry feet on the dinghy is very, very important.
I think so.
Yeah, so I agree.
And a dry place to put stuff.
Yep. Retractable cleats. Now, why retractable cleats? I've been on boats, small boats, and any cleats that's sticking up, you're gonna one day step on it, stub your toe on it, twist your ankle on it, and trip on it. And we don't want to be doing any of those, because our bones aren't bending no more. They're kind of getting dusty and fragile. So anything that we can retract or put down to avoid those type of hazards, I think we want, right? We kind of need. If we were 30 years younger, I don't think it'd make a difference, but now it does. Some of the other options is I like to store the fuel tank and the battery, the heavy equipment, as far forward as possible to make it easier to get on plane, depending on which dinghy. So if there's an option for fuel tank, for battery, I think we're going to get it. And some dinghies, they have things like davit lifting points. You definitely need them if you're going to hoist it up on the 1260, and bridle connection points. If those are an option, depending on what dinghy we get, we're going to have to get the davits, obviously, and the bridle towing points. And those are the towing points on each side of the hull that you can tow the dinghy with a bridle. They're down low. We're not going to be towing the dinghy behind the 1260, I don't think, but
you never know.
Yes. So if they're an option, let's just get them now.
Yep.
And I think that's it. Right?
I think so.
Wow. Wow. Do you still feel dinghy?
Not anymore,
And why is that?
because we picked the dinghy.
All right, dude. What dinghy? Let's share everybody. What dinghy, after almost a year of research, what dinghy did we end up with?
The Ultralight Performance UP340. Is that right?
That is correct, and you need to say it with a little bit more certainty, because we already put a down payment on it. It was a tough decision. It was going back between the high field and ultralight performance. The ultralight performance is more expensive. But the Highfield really is a disposable dinghy. It will wear out and you will have to replace it about 7, 10, 12 years, depending on how good you maintain it. And then you have to buy another dinghy. This dinghy will be the last dinghy that we will buy. This dinghy will go with the motherboat if we ever die or sell it or bequeath it to somebody. So we're done with the dinghy. This is a very good dinghy. The hull weight comes in at 99 pounds, has great load carrying capacity. It has everything that we ask for. And I think we're going to combine it with a Tohatsu outboard motor, probably around 20 horsepower for lightweight, and crosses off our list of everything that we're trying to get done before the boat is built.
And since it's made in the U.S.
It's made in the U.S. of A. It's made right down in Florida.
And since it's made here, we don't have to, there's not as much shipping prices.
The ship, we either go down and pick it up ourselves, or we ship it. It's not going to be that expensive coming from Florida. When we first started it, there was a 3-month waiting list on the UP 340. Now there's a 5-month waiting list. So just by us going back and forth of whether we wanted to spend the money, we lost 2 months. But the good news is this dinghy should be ready when the boat is finished. Not when it's arrives, when the boat is finished. So hopefully we have enough time with this dinghy, just in time for snow, ice, and all that. So we're done. We're no longer dinghy, right?
That's right.
On to the next thing. So what do we have for next?
I'm still a little dingy, but that's okay.
What do we have coming up next month?
Oh, we're going to do a charter on the bay again.
Yeah, but I think our episode's going to be on our final options. We had to adjust all the options on the sea one for various reasons. I like to document that and share where we ended up with it, right? And today, the boat is
being built.
Under construction. It is under construction.
Where were you going with that, Peter? Yes.
The keels are laid
got a couple
today,
pictures.
August 1st. So we're getting really excited about that. So that's where we're going to end up in September's episode. Then we have a charter. We have the boat show. We have some things coming up. We have to start outfitting the boat. So exciting things. So if you like
a couple classes too.
Yes. All kinds of classes. We'll do an episode on that. If you like what we're doing, what should they do?
Subscribe, like.
She's never so sure. Comment, ring the bell if you want to be notified. Just click on the good stuff below. I mean, I'll help you out. I'll point to it. So we're done. We'll see you next month. Okay, a quick health update. How you doing for the month of July?
I lost 3 more pounds for a total of 36 pounds since January.
I sense a trend.
About 2 to 3 pounds a month.
It's not bad. I mean, you're moving down. You're going down. I shouldn't complain. I lost 3 pounds. I feel like I'm really bottoming out. I'm down to 169. I'm not going up, but we'll see what we're doing in August. August is going to be tough because we have some trips planned and things like that. So we'll keep doing what we've been doing in August and see how we turn out September 1st. Agreed?
Yes.
Okay.